The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten-free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
It's the Go Gopher podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 61. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. Today we have two special guests talking on a couple of great topics. Batting leadoff on this week's Go Gopher podcast, one of the all-time great Gopher women's hockey players, the reigning Patty Kazmaier Award winner, the WCHA Forward of the Year once again this year, and now ready to lead Minnesota into this weekend's NCAA Tournament with a home game Saturday at Ritter Arena. The great Taylor Heise joins me to talk about Gopher women's hockey, the NCAA Tournament, the goal to win a national title, her family background, and much more. I know you'll enjoy the conversation, so please stick around. Part 2 of the podcast will feature Affinity Plus CEO Dave Larson, who first of all we thank for supporting Gopher Athletics and this podcast as one of our great sponsors. We talked to him about his company, about the mission, and most importantly about the way Affinity Plus supports Gopher Athletics and also Special Olympics Minnesota. Mr. Larson took the Polar Plunge last week, and we'll ask him how he did with that. And there's time for you to help as well. We'll discuss that too. This is a real fun podcast. It's episode 61. Our Go Gopher podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. You can get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Make the most of your life's work. Here's what you do. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. As mentioned, we're also glad to have Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union partnered with us on the Go Gopher podcast. Affinity Plus has been a longtime supporter of Gopher Athletics and a major backer of Special Olympics Minnesota. The Polar Plungers have started. We're going to talk about that. Affinity Plus is your local credit union throughout the state of Minnesota. You can find out more at affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. Our podcast is also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland at ChamplinInsurance.com. Tony is a big Gopher hockey fan. We're podcasting episode 61 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. One other quick note, if you're a restaurant or business who'd like to have a podcast broadcast live from your venue and are interested in partnering with us with a sponsorship, please contact the great folks at Talk North. We'd love to be on location on a regular basis. It's talknorth.com. We invite you to subscribe to the Go Gopher podcast. You can always go back and listen to the Go Gopher podcast. In fact, it's free to subscribe and free to listen. Last week, for example, we talked with Gopher star defenseman Brock Faber of the top-ranked Gopher men's hockey team, and it's definitely worth going back to listen if you missed it. He's quite impressive. This week, it's episode 61, more Gopher hockey on the Go Gopher podcast. This week, talking Golden Gopher women's hockey going to the NCAA Tournament. Star player Taylor Heise. Here is my conversation with her. With Taylor Heise now, star super senior for the Golden Gopher women's hockey team, coming off of a big WCHA tournament championship over the weekend, and now getting ready for the NCAA tournament this weekend, Saturday, 2 o'clock. The Gophers will take on either Clarkson or Duluth, and as we're taping this on Tuesday morning, we're not sure who that will be. We'll find out on Thursday. And Taylor, great to see you again, and congratulations on a great weekend and a great season so far.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Well, we have had you on our Gopher Talks before in the past. This is your first appearance here on our Go Gopher podcast, so we thank you for that. Take me through what the weekend was like. You guys had Wisconsin in the semis last weekend, and then Ohio State in the championship, and you guys swept for the trophy once again.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a really good weekend. I think when you think about playoff hockey, you got to be playing your best, and if you're not going to be where you want to be. So for us, I think we really took it as a stepping stone and part of a step ladder for us. I think it was really good hockey, and you bring that back to the confidence that we built the whole year. I think you look back, our season's 6 months long. 6 months is a really long time, so you gotta kind of take the highs and the lows with what they are, but kind of try to stay neutral. And I think we came into Friday's game kind of like, we can do this. We've done this before. They've given us hell a few times this year already before that, but it's in our home rink. You can't do anything better than that. We already have that step up. We're gonna have our own fans there. All of our parents and family can come. It was awesome. And I think just being in the playoff mood, our entire team stepped up. And then you get on to Saturday, and we play Ohio, and you look, and we had 29 blocks, which is the most we've had this whole season, which is a large reason why we won. Everyone's sold out. And I think when you think of playoff hockey, like I said, you have to be playing your best. And we got almost everyone's best. And I think for our team, with the talent we have, you're not going to lose with that.
Yeah, your coach even this week, Brad Frost, and coaches are generally, don't want to talk too much about when things are going well, right? They're generally pessimistic people. I know Brad, in general, his personality is not pessimistic, but coaches generally will, yeah, we're doing well, but we got this or that. But man, and just hearing him talk, he was beaming about how you guys played. And you mentioned those 29 blocks. And I think, 6 came when they had the goalie pulled and all kinds of stuff. I mean, he was pretty proud of you guys. You could tell that.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit different than the Gopher hockey that we've had this year and in the past. I think he said he had some alums texting him too and been like, this is the year, or this is like a team that I haven't seen yet. It's kind of that desperate hockey we've been talking about a little bit with our team, is that sometimes you have to do things you're not wanting to do, or things that you're not supposed to do in order to win. And I think we had people on our team who don't normally block shots or do that kind of dirty stuff, that were out there doing everything they possibly could to help our team win the game. But yeah, I think Frosty was, I was talking with him yesterday after doing an interview, and he was like, I really do believe in this team. He goes, but coaches do say certain things sometimes and they don't always believe them, but it's to get the team pumped up. But he goes, I truly do believe in this team and this group because, he said, I saw it on Saturday. I saw that championship behavior. And if we can continue that and get about 80 or 90% from every single person on our team, we're going to be really hard to stop.
Yeah, you guys have it rolling for sure. And then just from that general attitude, it's interesting, too, because you'd look at your guys' record. Early in the season, the schedule was tough. And then I forget exactly now. I should have looked this up before we started the show. But it was like you guys didn't have a regulation loss in 20 straight games. And it was 11 straight wins just in regulation and all kinds of stuff. But did you feel you weren't clicking then like you are now, even through that winning streak?
I think it kind of depends on who you're playing. Yeah. When we played Duluth, Wisconsin, Ohio, these past, I think it was 4 weeks ago, a month and a half ago, that was the hardest stretch we've ever had. And I think for you to get up for games every single weekend and play 4 really great teams in a row, that's really hard. But that's the reason why you play. We had some injuries earlier in the season. I mean, at one point we were down to 4 defensemen and 3 lines barely. And I think we kind of came back after the break from that and were able to be better. But I think we struggled slightly before we got into break. I think it's like I said, a really long season. But you look back and you're like, man, that was literally 4 months ago. Holy cow. And now we're obviously in the end. And for me, it's and I'm done. So I think the fifth years and seniors have been looking at it as an opportunity to be better, not an opportunity to fail. Obviously, you never know how many days of practice we even have left. We have practicing today, whatever. We have four practices left this week, and you obviously want to take those with a grateful attitude. But for me, I'm always okay, how are we going to be better? I want to see our best on Saturday, but I also saw really good of our best on this post Saturday. So to make it better, we got to do some little nitty gritty things that are going to change to make us better. So I'm excited to practice, and I think our girls are too. But like I said, I think right now we are at our best, and I think your best continues to change. And if you do that, I think you're a championship team, because if you keep your best the same, people are going to start stepping up, and you're not. So.
You mentioned that for you, this is it. You're a super senior. You came back. Obviously, the COVID year screwed things up. You could have maybe won it all that year. Who knows? You guys were playing really well right at that time, and the trap door kind of falls out. We actually, I think, talked about that. I remember you sitting on a picnic table, I think, in your driveway when we did the Gopher talk. And you had a hockey goal on the driveway next to the basketball hoop, where I'm sure your brothers are shooting on that, and you're shooting into the hockey. Anyway, that was definitely a buzzkill not to get an opportunity there. But now, so here it is. Like you say, you don't know. You're in a position where you're not sure when the last practice, the last game, can you win it all? What emotionally is that like for you? Like, are you in a situation like you're feeling it? Like, gosh, this is a shot to win a title, or how do you handle it each day?
No, absolutely. Like I kind of said, I try to take it with more of that grateful mindset. I know for me, hockey's not over. I know there's a lot of girls on the team and girls in different conferences and things where like hockey's legitly over. And I know for me, like that will be a scary thought in the future, but that's not it for me. I think obviously I'm going to be playing professionally, doing some other things like that, but this team means so much to me that it does feel like hockey's going to be over at some point. So like I said, for me, it's really just like digging in with my teammates. We're going to play paintball today, like get to do some fun stuff. And obviously I live with my best friends and they're all on the team. Like I get to see them every day. It's not just that, but it's like practicing and doing things. Like we have like goalie world, we have practice, we have power play and stuff. And I need to get excited for all those things. And I have been doing a really good job of that recently. And I think our team has too. Of just showing up with not just a good attitude, but a really good effort. Like I love when people are happy and such, but we need to have a competition and do the best because in my opinion, I get to compete against the best players in the country every day. You got Grace Summinkle, Abby Murphy, Katie Skaya, Abby Barine. Like these are people who I get to see every day and compete with. But I think last year the confidence just wasn't there. In our team and in the sense of if we were to get down, we're not coming back. And then we got down late and we knew we were not coming back. And this year we've had a lot of times where we got down by one goal and like we'll have a savior come out of nowhere. But in more so, I've seen it in practice. I've seen people do it. I've watched them. I know we can do it. So I think that's the difference this year is the confidence and the fact that we have such a deep roster that it's not just going to come from one, it's going to come from all.
Yeah, I've always admired, too, the culture that Brad Frost has. He's talked often about the pillars, and you know what those are, and that his philosophy is if the team fulfills those pillars, win or lose, he can put his head on the pillow at night and be okay. But he always knows that he's going to have next year to try. You're in a situation where now this is it. So those pillars, you're going to fill it out, but can you put your head on the pillow at night knowing that if it works and you win, beautiful, but you know if you fulfill those pillars and end up not, that's okay too?
Yeah. We talk about being tough, being grateful, being disciplined, and being devoted. Obviously all four of those are really important. And for me, I know that my discipline, devotion, all those things, like those get me through the day. And I do a really good job of trying to be my best and being 1% better every day. So I know I can go to bed at night thinking like I did a good job today and I'm going to be better tomorrow. And if I didn't do a good job today, I'm going to be 10 times better tomorrow. And our team has a really good attitude with that. We keep each other accountable. It's a great atmosphere because we have so much competition. But there's the small battles where you're like, hey, that wasn't right. I don't like the way you did that. We're turning that around. We're going to change it. But I have no problem doing that. I know our captains don't, our coaches don't. And I think to have the accountability within the team that like players bring is really important. Because it's like, okay, that's not how we do this here. Like, we're going to change it. I need you to switch your attitude. We're going to try something else. And I feel like people are okay with hearing that because they know how hard we work. I think when you walk the walk and talk the talk, you're able to do more and to say more and to lead in a certain way that certain people can't. And I think Frosty has brought this great kind of culture that is cultivated. And obviously we have Dar now and Espo and Jess and all of our amazing coaching staff members. And I think everyone just brings something new and something valuable to the group. And I feel like we take it one step at a time and try to learn from it. Because I know in the past, certain groups and certain teams have been just the same. And it's just been like 4 years of really talented hockey, but like, oh, they can't do it. They can't make it that far. I think for us, like, we're really talented. I think we work really hard. We can be physical. We can block shots if we want to. We have a great goaltender. Like, we have all the pieces. It's just kind of making them fit in the right spot.
Yeah, and now you have a path. You know the path. You either have Clarkson or Duluth. It's on your home rink for the first round, and then if you get through the first round, then it's up to Duluth for the Frozen Four. You've played there. Is there some advantage there too? And how hard is it in your mind not to try to fast forward into getting there?
Yeah, I think it's easy because I have been cut short too many times at this point. I would love more than anything. I think people say like once you get to that Final Four, like you have more confidence in your team that they can do it because you're already there. Like you're already in Duluth, you're already doing things you need to do. But I think like this game is the hardest Saturdays is because I know for us it's not given to play again, obviously, but the teams played before. You never know if someone goes on a roll. Like it can kind of keep going. And I think for us on Saturday, it's great that we're at our home rink. I think we have so much confidence and we have obviously beaten Duluth there. We haven't played Clarkson yet, but and just the confidence of having my family and my parents and having my friends and whoever wants to come that can come makes it easier for me and that I can, like you said, rest my head on the pillow at night and be like, okay, I gave everything I have. And that's something my parents and I talk about. Like I can only control my attitude and my effort. So if Saturday comes around and I give 100% in both those areas and things don't go my way, like, I mean, you have to accept the fact, like, yeah, I'm going to be upset, but I have to accept the fact that I did what I could to put my team on top, and I'm going to have to believe that everyone else is going to do the same. And I know if that's the case, we are not losing. So, like I said, it's really important for everyone to kind of lock in and key in. But we kind of talk about turning that switch on and off when you're at the hockey rink and when you're not. So, like, we're going to go practice today for about an hour. And then we're going to go play paintball. So during that hour, we're flipping that switch on, and after we're flipping it off, and then you're going to go have some fun with your teammates. So I think even on Saturday, like you flip it on, it's on the whole game, but also know like there's certain times where you got to like relax. And I think we do a good job of kind of saying those moments and being okay, take a deep breath. Because like for us, we have a lot of veterans who have been in that situation where in the past we hadn't. And I think that kind of like helped us to not quite understand how to play the game. And I think now we kind of have those pieces. So
I got a bit of a tricky question here because I don't want to offer you up a chance to offer bulletin board material, but you could play Duluth Saturday, right? And yep. I know that one was a bitter one last year against the Bulldogs, right? In the NCAA, as you said, you got cut short. So do you want to play them again to exact some revenge, or do you want to avoid them and try to get Clarkson and move on to Duluth to play in their building in the Final Four, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. I think for me, and we talk about this with our coaching staff too, it doesn't matter who you play, keep your standard the same. So our standard's already up here. And it doesn't matter who's coming into our barn to play us. We're still going to have our standard up here. And I think for us, our team is going to get hyped for either game. It doesn't really matter. And I think we're going to go watch the Thursday game, and that's going to get us even more excited. I think it's going to be hard for me to watch and not hop on the ice. But obviously, like Clarkson brings a new like attitude to the game and something we haven't seen yet. But obviously, sometimes that can be scary too. But Duluth is an opponent that season, and we know them. We know their coaching staff. We know their goaltender. When she gets hot, she's really hard to score against. But I think like we have all the tools to be successful. And if we can come in confident on Saturday, being like, I don't care who we play, like we're doing this, like we're going to be really hard to stop.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because you get so familiar. The league has 8 teams, so you're playing everybody at least 4 times. And then if you count, tournament, sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes you've had to play, I think Duluth, it was back-to-back last year, right, in terms of the championship game and then the NCAA. So the familiarity part of it might be good or bad, but there might be some decentness to playing a team you haven't seen too that, okay, they don't know what they're in for here. So I suppose it is, the attitude is what you have to have is it doesn't matter. We're just going to go play our game.
No, absolutely. I think you got to focus on that. Like you said, focus on your standard. Our standard is blocking shots. Our standard is scoring goals because we have the goal scorers on our team. Our standard is pinching and having an F3, doing all the little things we practice, having Skylar play the puck in the correct way, having her stop play if we need it. Just doing the small things that make us successful, and the things that on Saturday that we did that made us successful, and we can take those and move on to the next Saturday. Because I think obviously having 7 days before a game is great because you get to kind of do what you want. I know for me, I feel out how I want to feel all week. Like I know if I don't feel great today, I want to take a little bit off of practice, or like tomorrow we're going to make sure that we do a little lighter practice. Like we're really good with keeping our bodies right because on Saturday it only matters for 60 minutes, and you got to be able to compete for 60 minutes. And if you can't, It's really tough.
Yeah, you mentioned Skylar Vetter, your goalie, and you guys have several good goalies who have been rotating throughout the year. But it looks like she's kind of got that spot now in these tight, important games. What is she meant to you back there to kind of solidify? Again, you've got talent. There's more than one, but she, I think, has played pretty well and has had a pretty good run here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's amazing. I think just watching her in practice, she's one of the hardest goaltenders to score against, in my opinion. And I play against her every day. She knows what I do. She gets, and she's really smart. She understands, like in practice, like if I'm pulling it, I'm probably going here or whatever. She really helps me to up my game because I want to score as much as she wants to stop me. So I think for us too, it's a game of how can I change my game just slightly. And I think that helps me both on the USA spectrum, both at the U, all those things. Because I feel like when someone knows you so well, you got to be like, okay, now I'm going to trick you because I'm going to figure it out. And I think for her, she works so hard. And it was funny because Saturday, I mean, the girl was on her deathbed. Like we had a lot of really sick kids. I was one of them. We had some people who just weren't feeling well, but obviously like set that to the side. I didn't care. Like if I couldn't breathe out of my nose, I'm breathing out of my mouth twice as hard. Like just making sure that I'm able to do everything to the best of my ability. And she has worked so hard, and she is, like I said, one of the hardest goaltenders to stop. And I don't think she even gets the credit she deserves half the time. I think for her, she is such a competitor that even when I'm out with Goalie World, which is just goalies and a few players, like she's focusing, she's doing her. She has a bunch of goalie stuff. I don't even know how to describe it. They do eye things. There's like vision training. Our goalie coach is great. But yeah, she works really hard, and I'm really excited to see how she steps up for Saturday.
Yeah, there's been a few of these goalies too that have kind of followed this track now, where they played high school boys hockey, right? And she is one of them. And what do you how do you think that might have impacted her development in terms of positive or negative?
Yeah, I mean, she has this unshaking confidence. I think I'm a very confident player. I grew up playing girls hockey, obviously, though, but she has this confidence that I'm like, sometimes I'll look at her and I'll be like, sometimes we'll be in practice and like 5 goals go in, and she is still unshaken. She's just flat out fine. And I'm like, holy cow, bro. Like, I don't know how you're doing that. And then she stops the next 15, 20, and she's stonewalling you. So I think for her, she just had to prove herself so much when she was a kid that now she's like, I've proved myself. I've done everything I need to do. I've done everything in the WCHA. She's gotten goalie of the week, like, oh my God, like freaking 12 times. And she's done it. And she's been at the highest levels. She plays at USA sometimes too. I just think that she's so confident in her game that when she was a kid, like all these boys that were like, oh, you're not good enough, you're playing with us. She was like, yeah, okay, F you. I'm going to like stop, So good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck getting around.
Yeah.
Like I said, this unshaken confidence does so well, because I think for me, sometimes when a goal goes in right away, or like in a game, like in just a way that you're like, that shouldn't have gone in. But then I'm like, okay, then I missed a block. Like that's exactly, like she can look at me and say, I missed that block. So I just have this confidence in her that she's going to, like, there's no one goal that's going to go in that she's just going to be done. And I know that she's never going to give up. So in a game, like no matter if we're down by 4 or down by 2 or up by 4, like she's going to compete every single shift of the game. And that's something that you can also be proud of, but also be like very confident in what you and your teammates can help her to do to get out of that rut.
You had a goal. Well, you've had a lot of highlight goals, but you had one. I didn't see it live, but I saw it tweeted out where I forget even who it was against. Maybe Mankato. I can't remember now. But you basically look like the Harlem Globetrotters. You like went all over the offensive end of the rink, behind the net, back and forth, skating through people, and then scored the goal. Do you remember which one I'm talking about, or did you had too many like that? But it was crazy.
Honestly, like I don't know.
Yeah.
But Mankato probably sounds. That sounds about right.
Yeah, and well, I was going to ask you if you to take me through what you remember about it, but maybe I haven't done a good enough job describing it, because it was just an incredible goal. It was like, you weaved through different people behind the net, came back out, and you were just determined. It was a great goal. I just saw the highlight flashing on Twitter. So if you don't remember, we can't.
I'm trying to think what one that was.
Yeah, it was a good goal. Anyway, if people, if they just, search your name, they'll see all kinds of highlight goals. But that was one that stuck out to me. I remember, I think I might even been on the bus on a basketball trip and just thumbing through my timeline. I'm like, holy cow, that looked like the Harlem Globetrotters out there, basketball on the ice hockey rink. All right, let's talk about you just for a minute, just in terms of some of your accomplishments and your family background. I know that, your parents were athletes too. And going back to last year, let's talk about winning the Patty Kazmaier Award. What did that mean to you, and what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, it meant so much to me. I think it just proves that like I've done the things I need to do and I do the things correctly. I think you can't say that you're one of the best without having the best surrounding you, because you are who you hang out with. I have five other best friends that live in the house with me who have all supported me since I got here and even before that. They know how different I am, and I've talked about this before. I don't quite think people understand why I do what I do. High school, sincerely, I think everyone in a high level has felt that, like, people don't get me. And I think for me, like, all those small things that I did as a kid, like I shot in the garage for 5 hours a weekend instead of going out with my friends, or going before practice here and doing some extra stick handling like when I was a freshman. I think now, like, I'm so content with just getting out for practice and getting my hour in and doing things right, because I did so much as a kid and I did so many things that people didn't do, that I've already had those skills and those things that people now work on. That I know that I just need I need to feel good and I need to be at my best, and whatever's going to take me there, I'm going to do it. And I think last year, without making the Olympic team and being really determined to do something great, I think the pressure that built on me truly helped me to skyrocket. I feel like people talk about it a bit like pressure makes diamonds. And I think for me, like, the pressure of situations helps me to climb. And I think for other people that doesn't. So winning that award last year was amazing. And I had great line mates and great teammates and people who supported me through the whole process that made it really easy for me to succeed. And obviously, like, getting that award really helped me to solidify the fact that I did think that I did really well and I deserved the best. But obviously, like, you got to obviously let people vote on what they're doing. So after winning that last year, like, I lived in a huge house. We had a backyard. We had parents over. We had people over. Like, it was one of the best days of my life. And it wasn't because it was just about me. I just loved to see everyone had matching shirts on. Like, it was great. And I think, like, going off of last year, now I'm just able to, and now people, I think this year kind of went into that. Was it a fluke? Did she do it? Like, was it just a year of, like, everything worked out for her? And I think for me, I proved that this year, like, that wasn't the case. I've done another 60-point year. I've done things that I haven't done already, leading the nation in goals and doing things that I wouldn't have had expected with my COVID year. I think my COVID year, the year before the Patty Kaz year, was like one of the worst years of my life. Not like being dramatic at all, but like, COVID was bad, not being able to see family and friends. Like, my year at hockey was like, you could tell mentally I wasn't there. So I think just being able to skyrocket from that and then winning that award really helped me to see, like, all those times that I didn't do things that a normal person would, those were worth it.
And I know high level athletes too at times can use others doubting you as a motivator. The fact that maybe you were the last person not to make the Olympic team, I'm sure that pissed you off a little bit. Did the Patty Kazmaier Award also kind of help you with, like, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've talked about this before, but it's been more of like that proving, and I think that could have gone either way for me in the Patty Kaz year. I think after I said to myself, like, I'm doing this and I'm going to be the best. If I didn't get there and things didn't go my way, I don't know how that would have worked. And when I say things didn't go my way, like, if I didn't get up for every game, like, I think people can assume that, oh, things just set up correctly for her or her line mates or her teammates, like, just like things worked out. I think for me, I think that's bogus. I think having people who surround you that are great and who do their best for you is amazing. And that really helps to do what you do. But I think for me to carry the load that I did last year and to kind of have all those doubters and everything in my brain, like, I knew it. I was like, oh, I'm going to be my absolute best today. And I know I can. And after I did that a few games in a row, I was like, well, now I'm going to continue, because now I'm going to show every single person who didn't believe in me and every person who picked that team that they were wrong. Mm-hmm. And obviously, like, that was a huge mindset for me. But my parents were also like, you can't take it and be upset. You got to take it and get even. I think, like, it's more so of, like, having the attitude of, like, okay, you didn't want me, that's fine, but now I'm going to prove to you that you were wrong.
Right.
But I'm also going to do it for myself because I deserve it. I think for me, I have worked so hard and done the things the right way. And I have great coaching staff members, and I have great line mates who make it really easy for me to be successful and who get me. And like I said, I'm different and I do things a different way. But if you can understand and get in the back of my boat, I'm going to bring you with me wherever I'm at. So know that if I'm being successful, so are you. And that's always something I've been trying to, if I get on the ice early, I'm trying to bring people with me. If I'm doing this, I want to bring people with me. I feel like it's a team sport. Obviously, hockey's not individual, to say the least. So the more you can kind of bring people on your boat and start rowing as fast as you can in a positive direction, like it's really hard to stop where you're going. And obviously, like not making the Olympics, that was one. Throw some rocks in my boat, and then obviously the next year, every time something went well, I was chucking them out, and then I suddenly started to drift upward and do the right things the right way, and things just started to feel good to me, and obviously to get rewarded in that sense was amazing.
You sound like PJ Fleck with all the boat rowing here.
I know.
Yeah,
I
right?
almost feel like PJ there a little bit.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, so you're a super senior academically. Where are you now in terms of this is year 5, right?
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been here a really long time.
And you've
but
won
also
all these
it's been
scholar awards,
sport.
like every semester you get an award. So
So I got my undergrad in kinesiology last year, graduated in May, and then I'm in my master's program in sports management right now. Obviously, like with pro hockey, I don't know where I'm going to be, so I have another year left. So I guess we'll see where that leads me. But I think obviously, like I love sports, and I love talking, obviously, and I think anything that I can do to stay in the sports realm. I have my own agent right now. I think that would be something I'd be really interested in the future.
yep.
I know how to advocate for athletes, and I know what things are rolling with the NIL deals and things like that. And I don't know. I guess we'll see where it leads me. But obviously, like my future's kind of up in the air right now. So I guess we'll see where the education process leads me. But my mother is a teacher, and she will continue to hound me to do the right thing. So I know that I'm going to be on the right path at some point.
Well, and I was going to say the first time I mentioned earlier, the first time we talked on one of these, it was a Gopher talk that was with video, and it was during COVID. That's how the Gopher talk started. We were just trying to keep connected with everybody, and you were one of the very first guests. I remember you were disappointed. I remember you sitting on that picnic table, and I saw the basketball hoop, and then you were telling me about your parents were both college basketball players, I think at River Falls, if memory serves right. And I remember that because that's where my son was going at the time. I think my son and you were the same age. He graduated last year, though, from River Falls. Anyway, they were hoops players. Your brothers are hoops players. Somehow, though, you defected and got to hockey. How did that work? That hockey ended up.
Did.
Yeah.
It's such a weird story. I at one point, Lake City, where I live, doesn't even have a hockey program now. But one of my friend's dad started a little league outside, and it was just like once a week. I was terrible at it, like really bad. But my parents were like. Keep doing what you want to do. And I told him, I was like, I want to do this though. I do want to do basketball, but I want to do this. I want to try it. I really think I'm going to love it. And obviously after my parents, I think a parent from a Red Wing school district was like, you should have her try out for an actual real team that plays in an indoor rink. So that's what we did. Still played basketball up until 7th grade. So that was probably like 6-7 years of doing both and having my dad be my basketball coach, where he was able to kind of make practice around my hockey schedule. So all my buddies like on my basketball team were my best friends in Lake City, but they knew, they were like, okay, we're going to practice. There's practice times all over the place. And my parents would bring them back to where they lived if they needed to, and things like that, if their parents couldn't pick them up at the time that we needed to practice. But we practiced and we did everything we needed to. And then I'd get shipped off to hockey. My grandpa or someone would take me. I'd go to the cities all the time. I think my parents really set me up for success in the fact that they allowed me to do what I wanted to do at a very young age. And obviously, like I loved basketball, and I still do to this day. I watch all of the games. I love watching NBA. I love watching college. Anytime I'm able to get on the court, I just went to the Big Ten championships and watched Caitlin Clark. She's literally my idol. I love her. She's a great player. She's the GOAT. She's awesome. But I think being able to watch and still like know what I'm talking about to this day, I think is pretty cool for me, because I do love the sport. And obviously one of my brothers plays at Northern Iowa, and my other brother actually is playing in the section semifinals for Lake City on Saturday. So my parents are going to have to figure out what they're doing. For the games. Because you never know, it could be up in the air for both teams. So I mean, and my little brother's going to go play at Upper Iowa. So I got a lot of people to look forward to watching in my future, and I'm really excited to be able to see them both and to have them both be about an hour and a half, 2 hours out from where I'm at. I'm able to see them whenever I want. So all of the people in my family have helped me to be successful in just different ways. I think my parents, even to this day, sometimes I think about like my grandparents. I'm like, do you really know what offsides is? Like, do we really know what that is? It doesn't matter to me if you do. Yeah. But like, it's funny because they all learn the same. They kind of learned with me. And I think that was really cool because I'm a very independent person and I tend to want to do things by myself. My parents are always like, dude, just get the help. Like, let people help you. And I think now I have that mindset and I'm like, okay, if you're going to bring something to my life, I want it. I want you to add it to me so I'm able to be more complete player in person altogether. But my parents and my grandparents and my brothers, like, they're the reasons why I continue to play hockey. They're like, okay, you're different. No one's done this. You might as well start the trek right now. And for anyone who plays in a league where you don't have the best competition or there's people who don't want to be there every day except for you, you can do it. And I feel like for me, I wanted to be that person who could be the trailblazer for that and truly like show that you don't have to be on a team that, everyone and their mom goes to or like a prep team to be successful. And I'm glad my parents allowed me to play the game I love because who knows, maybe I'd be in the middle of Iowa with my brothers too playing basketball. I don't know. I could have been anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. And those worlds don't often collide, so it's kind of cool to see in terms of basketball and hockey, where, like you said, if you're a basketball family, do you know what offsides is in hockey? And it probably took them a little bit to figure all that out. And those 5-hour days in the garage then have certainly paid off here as you sit on the cusp of potentially, hopefully, let's see if a national championship can be here in the near future. And last thing that I wanted to ask you about in relation to that, in terms of those colliding worlds and you following basketball, could you beat your brothers in horse? Do you still get out and shoot?
I love being in the gym. Like when we go back, I am the natural born rebounder now. Since my vertical is not too high and I am about 1.5 feet shorter than both my brothers. When you get a brother that's 6'9", you can't really compete. Yeah. I can't lie. I can body him, that's for sure. Me and him, I do get physical and competitive, but I would call myself the best rebounder in the country right now because I think that's my one way I can compete. And every time they shoot, I'll get them back the ball they want it, spin it the right way. But no, definitely cannot beat him in a horse. Try my best. We do when we go to Duluth. They have a hoop in their rink, and I did win horse when we played there, and I beat Frosty, and I beat a few other people. So I got some of the skill, but not even close to what a college basketball player needs to be competitive. My brothers do give me the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but they're just as competitive as me, and they're not going to let me win. So my best, but I do love it, and I do love competing with them. And at my house, we have 3 different hoops, so we get to do whatever we want, to be honest, or we go to the gym. My dad, I think I could beat my dad, to be honest. I think I could. Yeah. He's still a great athlete. My mom, I definitely can beat. So I at least have one person I can beat.
You could win in that for sure. Well, I'm a little in the same boat because I was, I wasn't any good at basketball, but that was my sport. I grew up in Iowa. I grew up like 50 miles from both Fayette and Cedar Falls where your brothers will be playing. And so there was no hockey there at all. Now I've really liked hockey. Now, assuming the Gopher men's team, well, I'm leaving for Chicago here in a little bit to be with them, hoping that they still have it going on Saturday. But I have, me and 3 buddies have bought tickets to both the women's, you guys, and then the men's play at 8. We're going to make it a hockey day. I hope I'm with the Gopher basketball team and my ticket goes to waste, but if it makes it back, it's going to be fun because I don't oftentimes just get to put on the Gopher hoodie and a hat and go sit in the stands because I've got, I'm up in the press box or getting interviews or whatever. Absolutely. I'm going to geek out and enjoy a full day of hockey. And I do know what offsides is, so there you go.
That's great. That's all you need, really.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, hey, it's been so fun. We'll let you go. I know you have practice and all kinds of stuff. It's a busy week, so we thank you for spending some time with us. I know the listeners loved it. And best of luck Saturday. And we'll see you in Duluth here in a few weeks, let's hope.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed getting to know University of Minnesota star forward Taylor Heise of the Golden Gopher women's hockey team as much as I enjoyed being part of that conversation. My thanks again to her for spending some time with us on a very busy week getting ready for Saturday's NCAA Tournament game at Ritter Arena at 2 o'clock. When we come back, we'll chat with Affinity Plus CEO David Larson, who talks about all kinds of things on the Go Gopher podcast, episode 61. He joins us next.
I'm Clay Geary, walk-on turned scholarship wide receiver for Gopher football.
And I'm Ben Utek, U of M alumni, Super Bowl champion, and Tony Dungy Uncommon Award winner.
We understand championship culture, which is why we're part of the True North family of companies.
True North invests in only elite teams, like the champion team at Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and our diverse family of independently owned companies, visit TrueNorthEquityPartners.com.
Hi, Gopher fans. Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on lights, we switch TV channels, we switch on the TV. And with the new transfer portal, some college students even switch colleges, which can seem crazy to us diehard fans. But what's not crazy is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, my agency can switch you over so we can start saving today. My team is ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood and show you it is, in fact, easy to switch and save. When you want the real deal, check us out at ChamplinInsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It is episode 61 continuing here, the Go Gopher podcast, and it's our pleasure to welcome the Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union CEO and President, Dave Larson. And Dave, great to see you, and thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Mike. Great to see you as well.
Well, we certainly, first of all, want to thank you for the support of our podcast, the Go Gopher podcast, now just a little over a year old. We're in month 13 and a half, I guess, and you guys have been with us since last summer, and we appreciate that. And I know you also have sponsorship deals and partnerships with Gopher Athletics, and I know you're excited about Gopher hockey going. Last week on this podcast, we had Brock Faber, Gopher defenseman, as our primary guest, and just before we're hearing from you now, we had Taylor Heise, Gopher women's hockey star, the reigning Patty Kazmaier Award winner, and they have the tournament starting this weekend in terms of the NCAA. So we're covering hockey for sure, and I know you're a big hockey fan. I know you're a big Gopher supporter, and we thank you for that. How excited are you for these this time of year with Gopher hockey?
Well, I'm super excited both on the men and women's front. I don't know if you know this, but my dad played hockey at the University of Minnesota back in the 60s. And so, as I was growing up, we were huge Gopher hockey fans, and we had season tickets. And, just really have enjoyed following the program. And both programs are just having great years. And it's been really fun to watch. It's been fun to watch some of the players, that are playing now. I remember watching their dads I was in, I think, 9th grade when Dave Snuggerud was in 12th grade at Hopkins. And my dad was the high school assistant hockey coach at Hopkins. So I was able to kind of tag along to practice or on the bus and remember guys like Dave Snuggerud being so kind and gracious to me as a kid, and just kind of seeing like the success of his son and, having a little bit of a small connection there is fun to see. And my dad was a goalie, and it's fun to see our name behind the goal. At the different rinks. It always kind of reminds me of him and his really pride for the pride on ice.
Yeah, no doubt. It's also a good way to make us all feel old when you see the kids of people that that we were contemporaries of now in college, right? Playing hockey and those kind of things.
100% agree.
No doubt. Well, let's talk about all kinds of other stuff as well, because Dave has first of all, he's done it all. He's a 2-time top CEO award winner, Minneapolis Star Tribune, voted a top workplace, helping reshape Affinity Plus's culture. And I do want to ask you about some of those things when you took over and how you've helped with Affinity Plus, and you've done a lot of great things. It is a top workplace. What have you done in terms of been able to get to where you are and have the success both personally and as a company?
I've been in the role now for almost 9 years, I guess. And so, what I really try to do is just really bring a culture of care to our employees and really spend a lot of time, effort, and at times money on investing in our employees. And I have always been and always believed in transparency and talking about, obviously, the things are going well. But if we have challenges as well, talking about that too, and trying to allow our employees to kind of see who I am as a person, to try to be kind of relatable and approachable. And I try to kind of showcase that, I'm not perfect and I've got challenges in my life. And my dad, who we were just talking about, is battling Alzheimer's. And I've shared that with our employees just to show, kind of showcase that, hey, we all have lives and we all have stressors and we all have things going on. And I'm a person just like you. We both get up in the morning and we get ready to go to work, and we go to work, and really try to, I've always kind of said, as the CEO, employees will look to you and look up to you because you're the CEO or a leader, but you can never look down towards them. And I really try to engage and listen to what the employees' feedback has been, and I think it's overall it's gone pretty well, and I really truly believe too that when you have happy employees, you tend to have happy what we call members. Most people call them customers. And when you have happy members, you have happy employees. And it's been a really winning combination for us.
Yeah, and when you say members, too, it literally fits right with a credit union, which is a little different than a bank. And I even am not sure with what all the differences are. What are some things, with you as a credit union that maybe separates you or puts it different terms than just a normal bank?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's something that's been a challenge for credit unions to have the public understand really the difference. So you're not alone in that thinking. I think the biggest thing is we're owned by our members, and we're not owned by an owner of the bank or shareholders of the bank. We're owned by our members, and we work for our members. The other thing is we're a not-for-profit financial cooperative. And so if you really listen to those three words, not-for-profit, that really is the embodiment of why we are here and why we exist. We want to make a profit. We're not a nonprofit, but we're not a for-profit business. We're kind of in the middle there and called a not-for-profit. And so in my 9 years as CEO, the board, when we have brought them a budget for the next year, the board has never said, oh, you need to double down and you need to drive more profit. It's more like, hey, we want to be healthy. We want to be making money so we can add branches, add employees, upgrade our technologies, partner with community organizations, build our brand. We want to be able to do that, and we need to make money to do that. But we also know that we're here for members. So if we have opportunities to give things back to our members or give them better pricing on things, we want to do that as well. And ultimately, banks, and it's the structure of the bank, it's how it is. They are a for-profit entity. And so we can sometimes say we're trying to give money back to our members or put money back in our members' pocket. And sometimes the banks are looking to do something a little bit differently.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned your leadership style, and you mentioned your father was a former athlete and a coach at times. What do you think you took some of his leadership style into your job now? And do you watch other coaches? I mean, obviously we're talking sports here on the Gopher podcast. Do you watch coaches? Have you been around coaches that you can translate some things maybe from the sports world into running a successful credit union?
Yeah, I played. My dad was the assistant coach at Hopkins, and that's where I went to high school. And I made the varsity hockey team as a senior. I was probably close to being cut, Mike. And so I was like a third line grinder. And it was always really interesting to watch my dad in between periods talk to the team and really kind of showcase, obviously, coaching, but also leadership. And I do think I learned a lot from that. And my dad had been the coach at Minnetonka, and he got fired. And kind of watching him as a kid go through that and just learning that you're going to have obstacles, you're going to have challenges. And, being kind of a more of a grinder of a player, I kind of bring that kind of mentality to my leadership style. I'm willing to roll up the sleeves and get involved in something. And, I recognize like our CFO knows way more about finance than I'll ever know. But my job is to make sure we have the right people in place and kind of set the team up as best we can. And I do think that there was a lot of learning from my dad during that time. And, I absolutely listen to coaches and their interviews. And I always appreciate the ones that are more, I feel, transparent and vulnerable. And I think like Bob Motzko and Brad Frost are two really, really strong in that regard. When they don't play particularly well, they'll tell you, we just didn't play particularly well. And I think when they're playing well, they'll tell you that as well. So I tend to lean towards those coaches that have a little bit more what I'd say a transparent approach. Yeah,
very good. Very good. As a leader, that is important for sure. You mentioned, too, the involvement in the community that Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union has. And we've talked many times on this podcast, just in general talking points about the affiliation with Gopher Athletics. So you're sponsoring the Gopher hockey postseason. You sponsor the podcast. We've seen you around at the different events, and that's fun. But I think the real real cool thing that you guys have been tied to now for a number of years is the connection with Special Olympics Minnesota. And I know we've honored some of those young kids who are doing cool things at different Gopher events as well. What has been the tie there? Why is that? I mean, obviously it's an important issue, and why have you guys decided that that's going to be maybe your top priority in terms of giving back to the community?
Yeah, I went to my first Special Olympics event back in 2002 or 3, and it was a figure skating event. And they asked me to do the announcing. I have, pretty good pipes. So they said, "Hey,
yes, yeah.
You want to do the announcing?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll go down." And it was down in Lakeville at Ames Arena. And I watched the event and the athletes, and I got hooked. I just was so amazed at the abilities and the effort and the fun that they were having. And so did some different things with the figure skating team at that time and got involved there and kind of evolved. And in 2007, my mom died of cancer, and she had worked her entire career on working with children with intellectual disabilities. And I kind of wanted to do something in her honor. And so really thought Special Olympics could be potentially that opportunity for me. And fortunately, in 2013, when I got the job, I said, "Hey, I want to kind of elevate our engagement with Special Olympics." So obviously I started doing the Polar Plunge back then, got on some committees with Special Olympics, and then ultimately got the opportunity to join the board a few years back. Now board chair of Special Olympics Minnesota, just got the USA Games to come here in 2026. Not saying I did that, but, was involved in kind of that process. And so, it's been really awesome. Our employees love it. They appreciate it. I think we had like 160 of our employees plunge this year for Special Olympics. But, sometimes employees are saying things like, "Hey, what are some leadership opportunities for me?" And I'm like, "Hey, check out Special Olympics. Get involved. If you want to volunteer or be a coach, there are wonderful opportunities with Special Olympics." And I'll tell you this, anything that I ever do with Special Olympics, whether it be a meeting, an event, a plunge, I always walk away from it feeling better than when I went into whatever that experience might be. And I always say I get way more from Special Olympics Minnesota than I can ever give it.
Yeah, it is so cool. And I'm sure you have some stories about different things and different events you've seen over the years. They all capture your attention and imagination, and they're inspiring. Do you have a story or two that stands out to you over the years that really hooked you?
I got hooked in that first one. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
But, this summer, I was offered the opportunity with Dr. Gable from the U to lead the athletes into the USA Games down in Orlando. So we were down in the tunnel, just like, the Winter Olympics or the Summer Olympics, where they bring the countries in, they bring in each state individually. And so we're down in that tunnel, Mike, and there's 145 some athletes, all in maroon, all in maroon and gold with our Minnesota hats and shirts, our uniforms on, and looking back and seeing those athletes and seeing their excitement, seeing their energy, listen to them kind of hoot and holler and get all excited. And then walking in to that stadium was just, I'll tell you, it was a top 5-10 moment of my life. And then going to the different venues and seeing the Minnesota athletes participate, and just the skill and the ability and the passion that they have is something that everybody, I think, should experience or witness or be part of, because it's just incredible. And I'll tell you again, you walk away from it just feeling so good about things. And even when they don't win, the joy is just so demonstrated by the athletes, and they have so much to teach us, I think, as a society.
Yeah, for sure. Tip of the cap with all of what you've done, including, you mentioned the Polar Plunges, and last Friday was your day, right? Tell us about, where was it for you, and how was the plunge?
Yeah, this year they moved it to Lake Nokomis. I participated in something called the Executive Plunge, where it's executives from various companies around the Twin Cities. I think they had 90 or so that participated this year, raised over $400,000 with that plunge. I think it was my 11th plunge, so I've gotten kind of used to it. People always ask me, well, how is it, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask that, yeah.
Yeah. The simple answer, Mike, is it's cold, right? It's very cold. It's very shocking to the system, but it's fun. It's super fun. And afterwards, they have a program. They have speakers this year. Christy Sovereign from Accenture, who's going to lead, kind of be the leader of the USA Games for 2026, was there. Obviously, you have athletes there, and then obviously the participants. But it's just a wonderful program. It's emceed by Ian Leonard, who just has incredible passion for Special Olympics Minnesota as well, and really Special Olympics everywhere. But just a wonderful night. And I don't know what it is about that water, because you get so shocked to your system, but you feel just incredible for like 24 hours. So I'm sure part of it's, your body kind of having some sort of response to it, but also just, I think, the energy and passion and excitement that evening for Special Olympics too.
Yeah, and I think there's multiple polar plunges right throughout the state with different communities. So there could still be a few out there if people want to get involved and they haven't. Special Olympics webpage, I'm sure, can direct you, right?
Yep.
I would think to
absolutely
to take part and take the plunge and help raise funds for just an incredible cause. And as Dave Larson says, you'll feel better too. I mean, physically and mentally, you'll feel better, right?
Right, exactly.
You mentioned Ian Leonard. It reminds me of your event down at the Fillmore, which is just a newly renovated. It's not a new building, but it's newly renovated. I say newly because the COVID situation knocked it out. Timing was interesting. We can talk about that in a second, but I do want to ask you about it. You guys were kind enough to invite me to the fundraiser with the dueling pianos back in September down there. It was just such an incredible event for the foundation, which is the charitable arm, I guess, of Affinity Plus, and a wonderful evening with these dueling pianos in the building. And Affinity Plus is the big backer of the Fillmore as part of those renovations. Take us through that community involvement as well.
We are presented with different opportunities to engage in community organizations, nonprofits, and things of that nature. But a few years back, prior to COVID, we did a member survey where we surveyed our members on what things are you interested in. And one of the things that we learned about our members was they have a lot of interest and passion for live music. And so the Fillmore was kind of being launched, and we looked at that opportunity and said we can be the kind of naming sponsor on the Fillmore building. So it's the Fillmore presented by Affinity Plus, and we've been able to offer different tickets to our members. And I think, when they go to that event, they see their credit union name on there. There's some appreciation for that. And then luckily for us, we get the use of that building. I think it's twice a year. And so we hosted our foundation event for, 19, 20 years. We'd always had a golf tournament. And what we learned through golf is a lot of people are fearful of golf. And it's not always the most kind of inclusive environment for people. So our board challenged us, Mike, to say, hey, is there something we could do differently with this fundraising event for the foundation? So we met, we talked about it and said, hey, how about some sort of event at the Fillmore and maybe some musical act, as you talked about. We did dueling pianos. And, at a golf tournament, we'd get 100 people to come to that event. And I think we had over 350 people at the Fillmore that night. And, I obviously appreciate your words, but I agree with you. It was just a really neat, fun, energy kind of evening that really highlighted the work that we're doing through our foundation as well.
Yeah, I really was impressed with the building. The event itself was great, and I know it raised a lot of money. And I mentioned Ian Leonard; he was the MC, the meteorologist from Fox 9. He was just a superstar that night with his sparkling coat and everything else, and all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, it was so good. Because I don't know what all the the industry stuff is that you actually had other credit unions there helping support your foundation, which was to me, I'm like, holy cow, what's this about? And you or somebody explained to me, yeah, that's just, that's kind of our little community here, and, they're supporting us and we'll support them.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about credit unions. People ask me, hey, would you ever go work for a bank? I really think I'd be hard pressed to. I love the credit union philosophy, and that's an example of what I love about credit unions is we help each other.
Yeah.
We like each other. We certainly occasionally compete a little bit, but we understand that we're here. One of the principles of cooperatives is cooperation amongst cooperatives. And so whether it be Wings or Highway or, North Memorial Credit Union, we are here to help and serve each other as well. And that is a uniqueness. And I think in our own industry, we forget how unique that is.
Yeah.
And then, someone like yourself or a vendor will say, this is really different. Like, this is really cool that you as credit unions support each other and sponsor each other and are at these events that each other are putting on. And I think sometimes we, as credit unions, again, kind of forget how unique that really is.
Yeah, I was like, holy cow, this is cool. I mean, that it just, in a world of radio where you're always worried about, we don't want to put commercials of competitors next to each other or anything else. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And it was just a great night. Well, Dave, our time has come. It was such a fun conversation here to learn more about Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. I'm glad that the Polar Plunge went well for you on Friday. Special Olympics Minnesota is so important. And thank you for your support of Gopher Athletics as well. And let's see if these two Gopher hockey teams can finish out the spring and give us something to cheer about here.
100% agree. I like our chances, and hopefully it happens. And thank you very much for all that you do for Gopher Athletics, your support of Affinity Plus as well. And thanks for having me today, Mike.
You bet. It was a real pleasure, no question about it. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union CEO and President Dave Larson here on episode number 61. My thanks to Affinity Plus CEO Dave Larson for sharing some great insight on his company, on their very charitable nature, and how his Polar Plunge went last week. Affinity Plus is a great supporter, a locally member-owned full-service financial invested in you. You can learn more at affinityplus.org/go Gophers. They have a top-ranked mobile app as well. The Go Gopher Podcast episode 61 is also presented by our presenting sponsor, Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. We're also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and right now, please be sure to click the subscribe button to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to subscribe and free to listen. And please share the link of the podcast with others so they can listen and subscribe as well. We'll talk again next week.